John Neyland has told his inspiring story all over the country. John has been a business owner since the age of 18. He has been a mentor, enabling others to have the life they otherwise would not have had since 1999. John's book traces his journey from being raised in an abusive childhood to have the life, wife, and children of his dreams. When John speaks, people are inspired and compelled to live the life they've yet to dream. Please help me welcome John C. Neyland.
That's a good clap. Well, I came over here about a week or so ago and met with your administrator. And after talking with her and seeing some of y'all in the class as I walked around, I want to let you know, probably 3 to 4 nights I wasn't able to get to sleep on time, thinking about y'all. Without ever speaking with you, thinking about you. I saw your eyes and the job you put in this. And the reason it's such a big deal to me is that I can see the future you can't have. And I suspect you don't see the future that you're really entitled to, that you really, the potential you have there. So it's really, today I'm going to try to help you to get the notion of the ability to dream. Most people dream, or are told to dream within the confines what you think can happen, or the people tell you can happen, right? But to do that is a nightmare. So what brings me here is I'm a business owner, I've got an investment management financial advisory firm. And for 7 years, I had employees encourage me to write a book. Well, every time somebody said write a book, I turned a deaf ear to that. Well, nothing to do with that. I hired a gentleman 2 years ago. He moved here from California. Our second lunch, he says, "John, you should write a book." Oh, man. Maybe I should write a book then. So I wrote the book, and now I speak around the country on this book. I formed an organization, John's Dream. All the proceeds that I paid for speaking, I donate that to help others. But what's interesting to me in this group here this morning is that some people might say, "John, I want you to come be a motivational speaker for Medical Training College." And what strikes me odd, I'll demonstrate what's so odd about that. Raise your hand if you were raised in a single-family household. Keep them up. Okay. Raise your hand if you're a single parent. Okay, you with your hands up have one of the more onerous responsibilities in the land. And one of the most fruitful opportunities. As tough as it is, if you can find the way to be the parent you want to be, you're doing something very few people do in this world. More important than your job today. And when you leave this earth, the most important thing you do. I'll tell you why. I've been doing mentoring for young people for 18 years. And I can tell you the one common thread. Those young boys and girls that don't have mom and dad at home have a disadvantage. As I say this, I'm here to help you. If you want my help on the evaluation form, let me hear it. Because I'll put together a program to help you there. Now, how many were the first to graduate from high school in their family? Okay. How many are the first to go to college in your family? So here's the point. There's no need for any of you to look for anybody else to inspire you. You're the inspiration. You're it. All those things are distinct accomplishments and or disadvantages that you've overcome. You know why it doesn't feel like it right now? Because you're in the middle of a battle. But you won't always be there. In fact, really what you are is a parable I have, a story I have about the Volkswagen. As I look at this classroom here, each one of you thinks you're the Volkswagen. And you get to the stop sign, and there comes a Corvette wanting to race you. You're thinking, "I'm just a Volkswagen, man, leave me alone." And then you pull up to the next stop sign, and a Porsche wants to race you. "Leave me alone, I'm just a Volkswagen." Well, you drive up to the mall, and you see the mirrored facade of the building there, and you look and see your reflection. You go, "Wow, look at that." What the reflection you're looking at is not a Volkswagen. You're a Ferrari. But until you know you're the Ferrari, you'll drive like Volkswagen. The biggest battles in life are 6 inches between here and here. So leave this. Some of you are going to leave this presentation, and your life will not be the same. Some of you are going to listen intently and hear something that applies to you, knows that your life can be entirely different than what you're imagining. And my goal is to help you get there. I've got an evaluation form you fill out when we finish up. That's going to be very important to review those, because I look for schools where I can offer additional life skills coaching. So in fact, you and I are very similar. Would you agree? Who's saying you're very similar to me? We're very similar. Okay, you got hair. But I'm going to tell you, hair is highly overrated. So I will tell you, in life, it doesn't matter what happens to you at all. If I walk out this building here and I lose my leg, that doesn't matter. What matters? That I find my leg. No, how I respond to it, right? Response and everything. So I can teach you the things that you think are so difficult, the academic things, how to acquire stuff, houses, cars. If that's big on your list, you're wasting your energy. There's more important things to waste on. I've got those things, plenty of those things. I intended to get those things. Well, how you doing? And what is your name?
Sonia.
Sonia?
Dania.
Okay. How you doing? Good to see you. They said that when you got in, you'd sing the pledge for us. Dania?
I'm sorry?
You'll sing the pledge? So I've got these things. Take a look at it. This will work for me here. This is a delayed remote here. I've got the big house. I've got a house over in Hawaii. I'm going there with my bride here Sunday. We're going for 2 weeks. And got the fancy car. All those things that seem so important. Let me tell you, they're not. I got them. Not the most important thing at all. At all. Now, to give you some background where I came from, this picture is very poignant. Again, I've got a lot of hair, you see, so I had to work all the time. I'm the short, handsome one there. But that picture is very poignant to me for two reasons, two memories that come up with this. We grew up in North Baton Rouge on Montesano Drive. And about the time I was this age, my big brother and I were fighting over something. I was 4 or 5, he was 11. And unexpectedly, my father came home during the day. My father was an angry man. He was mad we were fighting. He asked my big brother, why are we fighting? And big brother said it was my fault. Now, I'm 54. This is 49 years ago. I remember it like this morning. My father looked at me. His eyebrows came together real tight. He had dark black eyes. As he went to reach for his belt, it looked like he hated me. And he beat the blue blazes out of me. I mean, all over the floor. I'm screaming and hollering again, and there was no help. There was no help to be had. And I remember at one point in time thinking, will he ever get tired? And then after he did that, Nancy Dunham, our family maid, she comes and picks me up with her big brown arms, and she's walking back to my bedroom. I'm crying away, and she keeps saying, my poor baby, it's going to be okay. My poor baby, it's going to be okay. We get back to my bedroom. She takes my pants down. I've got welts and bruises on my legs. She's putting medication on them. And I see my father walking by the back window, and I shuddered. And the answer is, it's going to be okay. And then I realized something. I felt something there. And when I felt this, I thought, you know what? I don't know that it's not worth getting that beaten to have this. What I realized then at 5 years old, laying in Nancy Dunham's lap, Nancy loved me. Nancy loved me. I had no love that I could see at 5 years old, but Nancy. Nancy was one of the brightest parts of my childhood. Nancy took care of me. Now, what happened to me as a young kid and adult was I developed the attitude that, you know what? You're not touching me. I'm the nicest guy I know, but touch me, we got a problem. And the kid behind us, one morning, he took a Nestle Quick can, filled it with mud, and threw it at me. Hit me in the mouth. Man, it hurt. Really hurt bad. So I would beat him up. So I'm running towards him. He runs from me. And I'm thinking, man, that is just not right to throw a can of mud at me and run, you know. And so I'm chasing. He runs in his house. And at that time, I did some math in my head. See, I never thought my dad did it to me and my mom was right. And I thought, that's not right for you to run this house like that. See what I did? I ran in the house. I ran the den. I saw his two sisters who I'd never met. I didn't wait either. I just passed them up. They're looking at me. Who's that guy? I took her right in the hallway. I left in his room. I beat him up in his bed. Kid you not, at 5 years old. So I come home, and Nancy had cooked a meal of red beans and rice, cornbread and sausage. Now, is that amazing? I can remember that 49 years ago. And I'm getting ready to eat some victuals there, and I look out the back window. Nancy, they're coming for me. The mama, the two sisters, and the boy. Oh my God, what Nancy? Don't pretend you're my baby. So, you know, that was remarkable to me. And then Nancy was the brightest spot in her lifetime. Again, what I take from all that was that, you know, I couldn't control what my daddy did. I couldn't control how I respond to it. Well, at the same age, I find the three of us are in a real tight broom closet. And we're crying ferociously. Even my big brother. Well, I didn't see, at first I didn't see him crying. So I looked at my big sister, and I couldn't get over the amount of tears coming out of her eyes. So I think, I've got to do something to make her feel better. So I decided to tell her it's going to be okay. Compose myself as much as I could. When I looked up and I said, "Bae," and then I saw my big brother. He was streaming tears. I thought, oh my God. This is as bad as I thought it was. And what was it? I could hear on the other side of the door, my father, cursing Mama real bad. And then I hear a chair knocked over, a plate crash. And then 49 years ago I heard this. His fist hitting her face. I can remember my mom's expression, oh! As she's falling to the ground, she's begging, Norman, please, Norman, please. The third time she begged, he kicked her in the stomach hard enough to stop her from breathing, from begging. And what I remember from 5 years old was, I can't control this. It was a miserable, terrible feeling. Well, Mom, right here, 6 kids. That's a bunch. Would you agree it's a bunch? Yeah. That's a bunch. So Mom had a bad problem. Mom was an alcoholic. Bad alcoholic. So what Mom would do, she would get the feeling worried, upset, typically about money, and she's sitting in this red chair in our den, and the conversation turns to, I'm just going to kill myself. And here I'm at 8, 9, 10 years old. Mom, please don't. I can vividly remember at 10 years old wrestling my mom trying to grab the .38 pistol out of her hand as she's trying to shoot herself. And I can remember feeling guilty that I was afraid of getting shot. I can remember at 13 years old, my mother taking a bad overdose. I mean, what's a bad overdose? They're all bad, aren't they? Well, she was unconscious. We knew she was alive or not. She was passed out between the bathroom and her bedroom. And we dragged her through the entire house to the car. I'm 13, my sister's 14. I said, Betty, you drive, she's older but no license. I told my sister, Betty, don't go too fast because nobody can drive. And I said, Betty, go fast, she's not breathing. Well, that's a good story though. And it's a good story because we got there in time. They get to give her medications to save her life. And the point is, all my life, what I'm doing is, I'm controlling what I can control, right? If you stub your toe and you hurt your toe, put some ice on it. Don't lament the fact you just stubbed your toe. That's a waste of energy, right? How do you take care of that? So, this little boy here, my brother, Swayze, a year ago, last October, I got a call. And the call was from my sister-in-law. And he had been found in his house with a utility cord around his neck. He hung himself. What I'm trying to tell you is that bad things happen to all of us. You can't control that. All we can control is our response. Too often, we don't use our energy properly. Here's your energy, right? We have a limited amount of it. How are you going to use it? Are you going to invest in something that gives back or takes away? You have a test coming up Friday. Oh, you can do a study for it. There's no need to stress. Why stress? If you have a test coming up next week, why stress about it? I'll tell you why not. Because that stress is a form of energy. You're taking some of your energy you could be using to help you learn better, know better, to worry. Does that make sense? There's very, very common things that you can take home with you. Can you believe I got that one? And check out the hair, which I had to do. I had to do. This is something Yesenia's heard. Everybody knows it hurts a ton. I was in 11th grade at Broward High School, 15 years old. And I started school, and I see this long brown-haired girl helping somebody with a chemistry problem. And remember, I thought, wow, that's the kind of girl you marry. So my buddy and I were talking about who we asked out for homecoming. I was terrified to ask her out. Terrified. I had her in 3 classes. Science, some other class, and speech. I thought, my God, if she says no, I got to see her every day, all day long. So eventually, I mustered the courage up one afternoon. I thought, if I don't ask her, Mark may ask her. And we get to the bottom of the steps, and I said, Karen, would you go with me to homecoming? And she has a book, so she just, yes, I will. I said, do you want to or not? But from that early November to December the 16th, I had the best time of my entire life. Nothing's ever beat that. That was my best time of my life. But then, on December 16th, I came down with a case of obsessive compulsive disorder. We've all heard of that, haven't we? Well, I was OCD before OCD was cool. And this wasn't cool. Well, it's cool now to have all these disabilities, isn't it? I met a young man at church Sunday. He was telling me all the things that were wrong with him. I said, well, what's right with you then? I've heard all the maladies. What's a good thing here, buddy? But I had a ferociously bad case of it. And my concern, my fear, it all revolved around germs and getting things right, and that if I didn't get it right, my girlfriend would die. The best thing in my life would die. And so it started off with hand washing, and soon it got to be where I wake up in the morning, my first thought was, I got to get out of bed. How do I get out of bed? Because I had to have a certain rhythm, get my leg over the edge of the bed. I had to pray right, think right, feel right, get it right, and be right. Count right. And so I'd do this 100 times trying to get out of bed in the morning, right? When I finally got out of bed, it didn't feel quite perfect, and then I had to walk around the bedpost and through the doorway. And this thing grew up a much bigger problem. And in time, I became almost immobile. I tried every experimental medication you could try except one. I tried that. And I asked the doctor, said, if this doesn't work, is there anything else we can do? John, this is the last medication that's being tested. I said, there's nothing else you can do. He goes, well, there is a surgeon that does the surgery for this, but I don't think you want to try that. Well, guess what? When that last medication didn't work, I said, what's that surgeon's name? Well, go see a surgeon. He's kind of a professory-looking guy. He has a beard. And I said, well, Doc, are these successful? Well, John, I've done 20, and all but 2 have been successful. I said, damn, sign me up. After those 2 that weren't successful, what happened there? Well, John, one of our patients he had an aneurysm and died. You can't predict that. I said, that's a bummer, huh, Doc? I said, the other guy have an aneurysm? No. But he's the only patient I've run twice. I'll never do it twice again. I said, why not? Well, not enough's not enough, and too much is too much. And this patient, I took him for surgery twice. I'll never do it again. I said, well, was he paralyzed? I said, no. I said, he died? He said, no. I said, well, what's the problem? He really said this. Listen to this. Well, John, he was highly unmotivated after the second surgery and hypersexual. That's a half bad, Doc! So I did say that. So I signed for the surgery and had no fear at all. You're awake during the whole surgery. They put you on the table and they're strapping your legs and your chest down, which I'm thinking, they're kind of getting carried away here, aren't they? And they put a halo traction around your head. And so they have to screw this into your skull, so they give you a pain shot with a screw in it. I'm laughing and joking that morning. I said, is that necessary, man? I'm not kind of smart. I'm the funny guy, right? So I do a very good Tarzan yell, by the way. Now, am not as in tune as I used to be with it. But I mean, I did a Johnny Wasmiller, Carol Burnett, Tarzan yell. I did it that morning in the operating room. So then they get the traction on you, and they get started. And so Dr. Richardson says, John, we're going to get started. You ready? I said, fire him up, Doc. Well, you know what? I was thinking it was going to be like a dental drill. No. I learned why they had me all strapped down. Like a Black & Decker drill. Like a Black & Decker drill on concrete. And that was a bit unnerving. And then you hear they stop, then you feel them pluck a little bone at your head and do the next one. But then it was pretty simple. They go into the stimulator and they're trying to stimulate the OCD experience and they burn it out. And at one point in time, they're stimulating my brain and I'm saying, listen, I see my girlfriend tonight at Sharp Road Park and she's got a blue eyes eye shirt on. I mean, like a movie. And at one point in time, they stimulated me, and one eye starts going clockwise, and the other goes counterclockwise. Made me kind of nervous, you know, really nervous. I said, Doc, my eyes are moving. Oh, it's not a problem, John. I said, bullshit, I can't stop it. That's a problem. That's a problem in my book, right? Hell yeah. You know, it may not sound that scary to you, but just take my word for it. When that happens, that's nerve-wracking. So. And then we're laying there. I'm laying on the table. You know what I really wonder about? I was on the table from 8 to 6. I never remember getting to the bathroom. It still bothers me. I've never gone 10 hours like that. So I don't normally say that, but it's occurs to me right now. That's odd, isn't it? So, so I'm on the table, and the stimulator goes bzz, bzz. And all of a sudden, at 10 to 11, there's a clock on the wall just like that one. At 10 to 11, I think, bzz, bzz. I feel kind of bummed out. Bzz, bzz. Oh, I felt oppressed. And every time they zapped me, I felt worse. And I stand here and tell you today, in my entire 53 years, I've never experienced anything that approaches how bad this was. This was bad at a whole nother level. And so I'm about to lose it. And so finally, I tell the doc, I said, God, Doc, I feel bad. I feel real bad. He said, what's the matter, John? I said, I'm down, I'm real down. They zapped me again. Because every time they zapped me, it was twice as bad. I screamed as loud as I could, I can't stand it anymore. They cut it off. Not only did I feel that, but I was scared to death the rest of the day. At 6 at night, I fell asleep. Couldn't wake me up. I had to come back a month later. I was worse. My OCD was worse after the first surgery. I go into my second surgery, and it went kind of bad. I had a bad seizure. And came out, couldn't remember what chocolate tastes like. My officer called me, I couldn't remember they called. They come back to the bathroom. They come back the next morning, they asked me to go to the bathroom, I looked and went, did I? So it took me 2 years to recover from that. I was driving down the interstate by Millerville Road, and one day I thought, I'm driving down the road, and I thought, man, I used to feel like this. I physically used to feel like this. Came home and told my wife, honey, I used to feel this way. And I went into business less than 2 months after that. So again, the takeaway from that, y'all, is that you can't control bad stuff, can you? All you control is what you can control. I've had a splendid, wonderful life. Would you find it odd me telling you that my childhood was wonderful? Would y'all believe my childhood was wonderful? I had a wonderful childhood. Had some bad things happen, but they weren't my whole life. So, I think the key for each one of you is this. How do you get through these things? How do you cope through this? A lot of what we're taught is wrong. So I'll show you what I think is right in my book. I developed a process that ends up having life chase me. I have a business. I've got clients that chase me down. Opportunity chase me down. And here's how it works. If you take a ball and you have 100 rays of energy, and all the energy hits that ball, it'll move as fast as pace, right? Well, if only 90 rays of energy hit that ball, it'll still move, but not as fast as if all 100 hit it, correct? So what I do is, I think about what's most important to me is my ball of momentum. Every single day, I put myself at my last 4 hours of life. I think you should too. And ask yourself, if you had 4 hours left to live, what is most important to occur over your lifetime? It's not going to be the big house. It's not going to be the car. It's not going to be the vacation home. For me, I want to be the kind of dad I'd like to have had. That's real important to me. I want to be the kind of spouse I like to have had. That's real important to me. But I will not leave this earth without helping hundreds of thousands of people have a life they otherwise wouldn't have. That matters to me. You see, I know what it's like to need help and not have it. Don't you? So, if you want my help, I need you on the evaluation form to let me know that. Because the questions you have are simple questions. And nobody's ever come to me with a tough question. So your question is a first-time question. Collective momentum is really how I live my life, and everything I do feeds in the same direction. I'll give you an example. I got a buddy of mine. He lives in Minnesota. Every time he comes to town, he wants to go to the LSU football game, and which means he buys a ticket for him, his other buddy, and me. I don't like doing that.
He's smart.
What?
LSU football.
Yeah, but I don't do that. I don't do that because I have to leave my wife to go to the game. I'm sitting in the sand thinking, I'm not with my wife right now. And I get my last 4 hours, would I like to have this time over again, spend my wife? I would. That's just the way I operate. So I don't do that anymore. I went with him earlier in the year. He came, got me, his other buddy, another buddy, went on down to New Orleans to some bar. I don't drink. I'm sitting there drinking a Diet Coke because I'm trying to get skinny. And I'm just thinking to myself, this isn't fitting my momentum. So it's a little thing, right? But it's a big thing, really. It has your whole mojo in life. So if you want my help, I'll teach you how to make collective momentum your own. And I think it's one of the secrets to life. So what I've done for the last 18 years is I've... Get back up, Lena. Did you back this up? For the last 18 years, I've mentored people. I'll start with this right here. Just one more. I'm going to skip it. I'm just testing here. For the last 18 years, I have mentored people. And it started with a young man named Ashton Carter. I was in the church that had a newsletter about helping people out with the court system. And it was remarkable because, you can drive by a neighborhood, drive by a house and think you know what's going on there. But you realize once you meet them, you don't know what's going on there. And Ashton had a very difficult life. When I met him, at one point in time, he was living in an abandoned house without a mother or father, with a power cord from his house to the neighbor's house. He didn't know so many things you need to know to be productive in society. The rules he lived by were his neighborhood rules, not the rules of the world. And so for 18 years, he's been along my side. He is now the father of 4 children. He's got his own business. He was the first in his family to graduate from high school, first male. His brother followed him and was the first to graduate from high school, have his own business, get married, have a child, and graduate from college. So this can happen with all of us. Now, as I go through life, I'm looking for people to help on a regular basis. And I came out of my office here about a year ago, and would you please go slack up? I'm joking. Just a funny joke. So I came to my office about a year ago, and when I walk into the lobby, I see a really large woman. I've never seen such a big person before in person. And I couldn't get over it until I looked at her eyes. And then I looked at her eyes, and I just saw a darkness, a sadness. And it bothered me so much. And I thought, I've got to help this woman. So I took her out to lunch. And then I took her out to lunch the following week. We went out to BJ's Brew House. She had a difficult time walking from the car to BJ's. And we got in BJ's the second time out. I said, let me tell you something. I said, I want to help you. But I'm not willing to help you if all we're going to talk about is your weight. Because that's not your problem. You can be happy at 600 pounds and miserable at 150. And so we've been working together now for 5 months in this process. And in 5 months' time, she's lost 100 pounds. Or 95 to be exact. You know how we did that? By going to lunch every Friday. I kid you not, that's how we did it. I go to lunch with her Friday, and meanwhile, she has does to watch her diet, and she exercises precipitously. But this collective momentum worked my way as well, because my most important thing in my world is my wife. And my wife gained some weight with her first child, never lost it. So you can't tell your wife, Ethel, why don't you lose some weight? First off, my wife's name's not Ethel. But it wouldn't make any difference. So I told Yesenia, I said, listen, I said, you know, my wife's not, she's a little overweight, you know, do you think she'll work out with you? Well, she calls my wife and says, hey, Miss Karen, you'll start working out with me. Well, I get home, my wife says, John, I know you're putting Yesenia up to that. And I tried to act like I didn't, but I did. But my wife now has lost 20 pounds in 3 months. My wife actually joined an organization. She and Yesenia do weightlifting. Can you believe that? My wife goes to the gym, and it's helped me as well. But I want to introduce Yesenia formally now. I want to tell her story, where she was when we met, where she is today, and our collective momentum has given her life she has. Yesenia, the floor is yours.
So, like I said, we met about a year ago around this time. When we met, I was in a super dark place in my life. I was super depressed. And to kind of give you guys an idea of how depressed I was, back in 2010, I tried to take my own life. What I did was I literally tried to tear up my bed sheet and tie it up and wrap it around my neck and try to jump out of the second floor balcony.
Wait, you did jump up the second floor balcony with a sheet attached around your neck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I tried to hang myself and ended up falling onto the concrete ground. Woke up with obviously I was unconscious. By the time the ambulance got there was whenever I woke up. That's how unhappy I was. You know, and didn't in there. I had drug problems, drinking problems, to the point where every day I was getting off of work, going home, spending my off times just drinking. I would go through a fifth of vodka like nothing, and shamefully, even a gallon of vodka like nothing. This is how I lived every day. This is how depressed I was every day. Like I just had a birthday at the beginning of this month, and I told John last year I didn't even think I was going to make it to 31. I was so unhappy and my health was so poor. I lived day to day just waiting and thinking that that I was going to have a heart attack pretty soon. I was going to have a heart attack or a stroke, and I was just waiting for that day to come. I wasn't even planning for my future. I was just waiting for my day. Today, after meeting John, he's helped turn everything around for me. I'm not as depressed. You know, I'm not going to say I'm not as depressed. I'm not depressed. I'm happy. I'm living life. I used to not even want to be around people because I used to always feel like everybody was talking about me or staring at me. I want people to look because I'm not this person. This was over the summer?
Yeah.
And I was a different person last year. Way different person last year. And today, I have so many goals and ambitions. Too many good things have happened within the last couple months to where I'm just looking forward to the next couple months. So that's it.
Well, we went to I do a professional speaking, and we went to Chicago. Yeah. And so I told Yesenia, why don't you ride me to Chicago for this presentation? And we got in the airplane. You take off in the airplane. You tell them what happened then.
So I was already super excited about this trip because I haven't been on a plane in 13 years. So we get on the plane, and the takeoff was so exhilarating for me. And he noticed how excited I was just taking off. And then I was even more excited about coming back home just for the takeoff because it was just so exciting. And every time I tell this story, I will always tell this part as well. I think that's when the idea started coming into my head that whenever I get to my goal weight, I'm going to go skydiving.
Without me.
But that's what I'm going to do. Once I get there, that's my goal.
So we get to Chicago, and I say, listen to Yesenia, as I make my speech, there are 25 other professional speakers there. I said, I may call on you during the presentation. And I did. And I can tell you, our presentation was unlike any other there. Afterwards, we had person after person. Yesenia was more popular than me at that point in time. It really was. So it's really been a life changer for her. And it really has to do, it's not where, it gets down to this. It's not about what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. This picture here, we have this because Yesenia went to Circle K over in Lafayette, and I read on Facebook, she was shopping for Circle K, and you tell the story, you fell.
I had fell in the back of the store, I had slipped and fell. Some of the workers, or some people that were shopping there had saw, and nobody stopped to help me, nobody checked to see if I was okay, instead they laughed. And this was whenever I was still like almost 600 pounds. So me being almost that weight, I had to crawl to the closest door to where I could push myself up. That was the only way I could get up, and everything hurt. So I get up and I start walking out. I finish paying for my stuff and I walk out the store. And as I walk out the store, the same workers are still laughing in front of my face. And I am furious inside. And of course, I get on Facebook and I start venting, and he reads it. And then from there...
Well, I thought about that's energy, right? That's some energy you're experiencing right now. She's very hurt, she's upset, she's embarrassed. All this energy, right? So I thought, my God, Circle K is a miserable place for her from now on. And you know what? That's not a good use of energy. So I said, why don't we do this, Yesenia? Why don't we drive over to Lafayette, take your picture with an employee at the store, tell them you've lost 20 pounds, and then every 50 pounds you lose, we're coming to take another picture. And we did it. Ended up the smile on that young lady's face there. And unfortunately, you've lost a bunch of weight. We hadn't got over it yet because you've been losing so fast. But we took a bad experience and made it to a good experience. So when you think about Circle K, what does it do to your emotions?
I'm happy about it. It doesn't even make me mad about it. I love telling the story.
So that's about what can happen with all of your lives. So none of your lives our lives aren't written for us. Nothing's happened yet. Nothing's happened. The future hadn't happened. It's good. We're going to unveil the future ourselves. And so I think it's very important that you have a process to get through that. I had hair there too. Tons of hair. But this is my family picture here, and I've got the life I've dreamed of. I've got it. I've got the spouse of my dreams, the kids of my dream, and I'm helping other people. So if you would have a question you'd like to ask, raise your hand. I'm glad to give my best shot at giving you an answer for it. Anybody can put their hand up right now. Well, this can be you. So if you would fill out your survey form, I'll review those. And those of you that want a hand, we'll see if we can get some help to you. My book's available here. I've got a few copies. If you like a book, I'd be glad to give you a book. And I'm speaking again at 10:30, and I think tonight at 6 o'clock this evening. So thank you all very much. I hope this was beneficial for you.